Hi and welcome. So today I want to share with you why emotional eating is not about the food and it is about the food. So it is a bit of both. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and emotional eating expert. And I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into this topic because when I work with clients, it's really hard at the beginning for them to see how their emotional eating is not about the food. They kind of know there's emotions involved. They know something else is going on under the surface, but it doesn't feel obvious because, of course, what you're seeing on the surface is that you're going towards food to soothe yourself. Every time you're triggered, you're going towards food. And so emotional eating is about the food and it isn't about the food because we're using the food to sort of meet a need that it's not meant to meet. And it can get a little complex, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. So emotional eating is when we use food to soothe ourselves from any discomfort or distress. And, it seems sort of weird. How would we put the two together? And so if we think about food on its own, food tastes good. And when we eat it, we actually produce feel good sort of chemicals and endorphins in our body. And food can naturally sort of soothes our system. It calms us. Food is also connected to, when we're breastfed as babies, we're getting food and nourishment and love, and it's all in this little package. And, it has this connotation with it. And so food is important. It can help us physically feel different things. So you might notice if you eat some foods, you feel irritable after, you feel good after, you feel calm after, you feel soothed after. So food actually has qualities to it. And in Ayurveda, they talk a lot about these different qualities of food. So when we're eating certain foods, they can help promote sort of a more of a calm state in our body, which is really beautiful when we're truly hungry. And it's amazing the qualities of the food. We can use it as medicine. We can use it to support us. We can use it to comfort us when it is about hunger, true hunger. But when we use food to soothe ourselves as an emotional eater, we're not using it to quench a physical hunger. It's an emotional hunger. And you can't use something physical to deal with something emotional, but it does give this temporary relief. And so emotional eating, when we use food to soothe ourselves, it's very temporary. And this is why it's a band-aid. And this is why we say emotional eating isn't really about the food. But as you can see, food does give us these amazing qualities. And so when we use food, we're almost using those qualities of the food as a band-aid to give us some sense of comfort or soothing that comes close to the needs we might have really longed for. And so emotional eating is a pattern that I see when I work with clients and we go back. This pattern is emerging from when they were children, when they didn't have certain needs met and they felt a lot of discomfort and they went to food to soothe themselves, to provide some comfort, to provide some sort of thing to take the edge off, really, to take the edge off of the pain, the internal sort of pain they were feeling. And so what usually happens is that parents or caregivers or those really close to us don't model to us how to be with emotions, but more importantly, they don't know how to hold that space for us to help us regulate ourselves when we're feeling uncomfortable emotions or discomfort, to help guide us through that and to find resolution and help us unpack what's really going on for us. We need that developmentally from our parents or caregivers. They're meant to model that to us. It's not something innate that happens. And what happens is quite the opposite. We're really shamed for our emotions. We're really, in our society, we dismiss emotions. We think something's wrong with us. We're weak. We're too sensitive. And all of these labels get put on us. And so we feel a lot of shame, but we are still feeling that discomfort internally. And so we start using food to soothe ourselves. And so we might have actually been given food to soothe ourselves. We might have seen our parents or caregivers use it. We know food feels good when we eat it because we're having meals 3 times a day. And somehow we start connecting that. And I find what happens as well, and this was something, that happens a lot in our society. When we eat a lot of processed foods, we get a bigger bang for our buck. So we're getting more of a dopamine hit. And so we crave sort of that hit, that feeling good when we're not feeling good. And that's a connection. Our brain might think, oh, I'm not in a good mood. I don't know how to actually move through this. I was modeled this. And so this thing felt good. Or maybe, playing jokes or scrolling Instagram, whatever it is, we figure something that gives us this big dopamine rush. Of course, as kids, and if you're here as an emotional eater, you're using food to do that for yourself. And so every time you get triggered into a certain mood or emotional trigger comes up, your brain just goes, okay, time to eat food. That's how we deal with this, but it's not getting into the root. And so when we get into the root, and we need to learn how to do this, and it's not as easy as just saying, feel your emotions. What do you truly need? Sometimes programs give you suggestions. This is your need. But when I work with clients, we're finding their specific need. It's going to be different. It's going to be something unique to them. It has a similar flavor of their needs not being met, they're not seen and heard and validated. They're not able to move through that discomfort or unresolved emotion, but it's going to be different for each person. And this is where we need to really go deeper. And this is why I love doing the somatic meditations with clients, with psychotherapy tools. This is a huge part of the program, but we also need to be building the structure and foundation around our relationship to food, our body, and our emotions. We need to have sort of this, for lack of a better way of describing it, mental framework, or this framework that we're learning about, so that when we do the deeper work, we have the next steps. So everything goes hand in hand. Sometimes, we think it's just feeling our emotions, but it's about putting into place what we truly need in the next step. And we need someone to really guide us in that, because if we didn't have that model to us, we won't know the next steps to meet our true needs. It will kind of bubble up. We needed this, but sometimes, we need that framework, and we need to be taught that. And that's what I see with clients time and time again when we do this work. They're needing to know how to create a space to feel safe moving through their emotions, to know it's okay, and also how to create the next steps that they feel empowered. What does that look like so that it's really meeting their true needs and they feel good? And so this is how they can co-create with the Emotional Eating Evolution program. They have this guidance and the structure they can flow from and feel and experiment how it feels for them to move through this pattern. So as you can see, emotional eating is not about the food, but it is about the food, because when we use food as a coping mechanism, that means our relationship to food is not quite healthy, and we need to rebuild that relationship to food, and then not use it as a band-aid, but we're also rebuilding our relationship to food, our body, and our emotions in order to resolve the pattern. So food comes into play so that it, once we have this healthy relationship to food, it can take its rightful place, and our body and our emotions. And this is what dissolves the emotional eating pattern. So we're no longer coping with life. We are moving through life, and we're meeting our true needs. And when we're doing this on all of these levels, we start feeling at ease in our body and around food. We start feeling more confident. We are building our inner self-worth. We are building our confidence around food, of our body and how we feel. And that is amazing. We're coming more and more back to who we are and to wholeness. So I hope this video has helped you understand a little bit more about the emotional eating pattern and how it is and isn't about food, and we need to dive deeper. And so if what I'm saying is resonating for you and it feels like a missing piece in your emotional eating journey, I'd love to invite you to check out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution program. Inside of the program, we have a step-by-step methodology with lots of support and guidance and meditations to go deeper into the roots of your emotional eating pattern, to clear it and dissolve it so that you start feeling at ease in your body and around food. So I'll put the link for that below. And if you are ready and you would love to apply to the program, I will leave a link below so you can apply and book in an emotional eating assessment call. So on the call, we find out more about you, what your goals are, and if we can support you in getting there. So I will leave that link below. You can apply there. And I look forward to sharing more with you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. And I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.